This is the Oppo Reno 10X Zoom, a phone that packs some serious specification and looks cool while doing that. And in this video, I'm going to tell you if it's really worth the price that you're going to pay for it. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. But of course, before we get into the video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel because we have an awesome channel here on YouTube. And we put out some awesome videos. So check out the channel, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon right next to it so that you get notified when this awesome channel puts up an awesome new video for you awesome people. You know how much awesome this is. So first we come to the design of the Oppo Reno 10X Zoom, and design is at the core of this. Elegant, beautiful, serene are the words that the Oppo Reno inspire. Especially in this ocean green color, it's nothing short of stunning. This color is slowly picking up. We saw this with the Mi Mix 3, with the Mate 20 Pro, the emerald green, and this one I think is again one of the most stunning variants of that. The light green accent on the power button certainly gives this that funky little touch. The glossy strip at the back provides a stark contrast to the whole matte finish of the back, and also that flush camera housing looks absolutely stunning, and I think this could easily be among the top 3 designs of 2019. Now coming to ergonomics, it's a little thick compared to other phones out there, and I think that has to do with the shark fin aspect of it, because having that mechanical housing here means that whole contraption needs some space to move, and that means that your phone becomes a little thick. Now the OnePlus 7 Pro is also similarly thick to the Oppo Reno, although it feels a little thinner. That is because it's curved from both the front and the back. So the OnePlus 7 Pro has a curved glass at the front and a curved glass at the back. So the frame that you hold on to is really thin. I actually prefer this frame to the OnePlus 7 Pros because this is a little wider and it gives me space to hold on to. So even if I'm using the phone without a case, I don't have to worry about it slipping out of my hands. Another thing that I like and hate is the matte back. Now the matte back means that this is susceptible to those fingerprints. So compared to a glossy back from the OnePlus 7 Pro maybe, this is actually much less susceptible to those fingerprints, which means that your phone doesn't look bad all the time. Although with the matte back, I have one problem. I have slightly drier hands, and what that means is that matte is not something that I can fix my hand onto, and it actually slips out of my hand with that matte finish. It's only that glossy strip at the back and that little half ball here that gives me that peace of mind, because I at least have something where my little finger can grip. Also, the fact that this comes with a case inside the box is just amazing, and the fact that that case is probably one of the best smartphone cases that I've seen. It's actually lined inside with felt material and even on the outside, which gives it that look, that premium look, and also gives me the much needed grip that I need. Apart from that, if you come to the buttons are really well made. It's made out of metal, which makes me realize that this will hold on for a much longer time. USB Type-C port at the bottom is the only audio input-output interface on this phone. What that means is that if you have to listen to music via wired earphones, this is the port that you go for. Although fortunately you get a great pair of earphones inside the box, USB Type-C earphones inside the box, and they are also color coded with this green color. So with this phone, it looks very beautiful, and the quality of those earphones themselves are also quite good. And for the people who don't know, the Oppo Reno comes with high-res rating. Now high-res certification is something that's mostly done for audio products, which means that Oppo Reno is one of the very few smartphones in the world that come with high-res certifications. What that means is that for people who like good audio out of the phone, the Oppo Reno is a very good choice. Now this phone comes with a single speaker at the bottom, at least that's what you see, but this phone actually has the same stereo effect with the earpiece and the single speaker at the bottom, and the audio experience is actually quite good. Also, the fact that this has a big chassis means that sound also resonates inside. It also vibrates inside and gives you a more fuller sound out of the phone. The one other design element in the phone that's not apparent right away is the shark fin. And right now it opened because I was unlocking the phone with my face unlock. Also, while this looks like a bigger module, I think this feels much more secure even compared to a pop-up camera. So for me, the pop-up actually is more flimsier than this one. This one actually has a bigger area, which means that this can't come out that easily. The pop-up is something that I feel like I can break off easier than this one. Also, it looks unique, and I like things that look unique. So with the shark fin selfie, I do like that thing. Also, it would turn up even if you're using the back camera in situations where you need an LED flash, because the LED flash on this is also on the shark fin. Talking about call quality, Oppo is as good as any other premium phone out there. You get exceptional call quality. It's not using any screen sound technology or anything. It's using a traditional earpiece. Although you might be interested in knowing that that earpiece actually sits in that shark fin. So the shark fin is the one that hosts that earpiece, and at the front what you have in the place of an earpiece is just a hole and a portal to that earpiece inside the shark fin. That said, call performance is spotless. I have actually enjoyed my time with this phone, and I think you will do too. Talking about the display, the Oppo Reno comes with a notchless Full HD Plus display that goes from one edge to the other, to the other, to the other. For people who've watched my videos in the past know what a notch hater I am, and this phone is right up my alley. Also, it's flat. Compared to the OnePlus 7 Pro's display, which is curved, I actually prefer using this. Of course, a higher refresh rate is something I'd kill for, but the rest of the display quality is quite good. The color temperature is near accurate. You don't even have any excessive color shift happening. The brightness is a bit lacking compared to a OnePlus 7 or a 7 Pro, but that I think is something you'd only notice in harsh, direct sunlight. The AMOLED panel also provides inky blacks, which makes it the perfect device to watch the season 8 of Game of Thrones. The display also holds one of the fastest in-display fingerprint scanners I've used. The OnePlus 7 Pro and the 7 are also fast, but I think the Oppo Reno is at par with them and is just a phenomenal experience. Of course, I myself am a fan of fingerprint scanners at the back or on the side, like the Honor 20 or the S10e. But if you're talking about in-display fingerprint scanners, then the Oppo Reno is right up there with the best. It does come with Widevine L1 certification and HDR support out of the box, so you'll be able to watch those HDR videos on YouTube and on other platforms. Also, you'll be able to watch high definition content on online streaming platforms like Netflix and Amazon Prime. Now, you do get Gorilla Glass 6 on the screen of the Oppo Reno. That said, after removing the screen protector, I still managed to get some few micro scratches. So Gorilla Glass protection does not mean that you won't get scratches on this, or it won't crack, because I can drop it right now and I can tell you that it will crack. So that is not truly anything that a smartphone display can endure. So please stop dropping and scratching your phones just to test out the Gorilla Glass protections on it. All in all, the display of the Oppo Reno is gorgeous, and I think it is one of my favorite features of this phone. Coming to software, the Oppo Reno runs on ColorOS 6 built on top of Android 9 Pie. Now, while we haven't recently reviewed an Oppo phone, we did constantly review all Realme phones, and they happen to carry the same ColorOS. ColorOS, while hasn't been my favorite Android skin, the experience on the Reno has been a little better, probably because of the Snapdragon 855. With ColorOS, you get things like customizable do not disturb modes, you get Hyper Boost, which takes care of app boosts, and also the game boost mode. You have a riding mode where it automatically detects that you're on a bike and will mute all calls and notifications for that duration. The navigation gestures on the Reno are also quite enjoyable, and added with that haptic feedback engine, which is so precise, I think the experience that you get is quite premium. A few extra features that the Oppo Reno 10x zoom has purely in the software is in the camera, and inside the camera you see those features in video recording. Oppo Reno, in fact, we'll talk about that more in the camera section, is really good for video recording and especially sound recording. So with the Oppo Reno 10x zoom, you actually get the option to record sound in a few different modes. So you can actually use the standard mode where it records like any other smartphone. You can use a 3D surround mode, so you can record surround sounds from all around you, and you can also choose a sound focus mode. So basically, if you are recording someone who's talking, you may be interviewing someone, and it will focus and record sound from only that person and not from anyone else around talking, which means that you can truly customize the way that you're recording the sound and the video depending on what the situation is. That said, ColorOS still does not match the premium experience that the Oppo Reno 10x zoom provides, and I think this might be a point of contention to a lot of people looking to buy the Oppo Reno 10x zoom. Now, the Oppo Reno packs in the most powerful smartphone chipset from Qualcomm, which is the Snapdragon 855. Now, that Snapdragon 855 coupled with either 6 or 8 gigs of RAM spits out incredible performance. Everyday usage is a breeze and I've absolutely loved the performance out of this. Even coming to gaming, the Oppo Reno is a relentless beast. You throw anything at it and it'll run like a charm. We played PUBG on it, we even played COD Mobile, and all of it was very impressive. The device also did not run too hot. I had a comfortable gaming experience with it. The benchmark scores on the Oppo Reno are also quite similar to the OnePlus 7 Pro, where we have a 350,000 on Antutu and similar scores to the OnePlus 7 and the 7 Pro on Geekbench and 3D Mark. The OnePlus 7 Pro and the OnePlus 7, although have the same processor, do feel a little snappier, which is also doing of the Oxygen OS and OnePlus's technology, where it loads a lot of apps from the extra RAM. Oppo Reno is not behind by any means. It's just that the OnePlus OS makes it feel like you're using a very snappy UI. So what that means is that if you want the snappiest everyday performance on the planet, then get the OnePlus. But if you want a smooth usage and equally good gaming, then the Oppo Reno is a perfectly good device for that and is among the best performers available today in the Android smartphone market. The Oppo Reno 10X Zoom is called that for a reason. If you have a camera element in your phone's official name, then it doesn't matter if everything else doesn't work well, but your cameras better be good. And with the Oppo Reno 10X Zoom, that is truly the case. The triple camera setup at the back is among the best in its price range. The 48 megapixel main camera is the same IMX586 sensor that sits inside the OnePlus 7 Pro and the OnePlus 7. We also have an ultra wide angle camera at 8 megapixels, which is quite a good performer. And then we have the star of the show, the ball of the bell, the telephoto camera at 13 megapixel, which goes up to 10x hybrid zoom and goes up to 60x zoom digitally, which is crazy zoom. I could reach into your soul with that kind of zoom. Now, how does Oppo do that? Oppo actually uses a periscope camera. Of course, if they had a traditional setup, then the phone's camera module would be quite big and would be protruding out of the phone a lot. What they did is that they used a mirror here. That's how mirrored cameras work as well. They used a mirror here, and the whole mechanism is actually moving in horizontally parallel to the phone's chassis. So this is something that Oppo did, crazy engineering feat, of course, and they've managed to do a great job with it. If you take a look at the pictures taken using this phone, then you'd be stunned, because the pictures coming out of the Oppo Reno right now are one of the best in its price range. And if you don't take my word for it, we've already done a complete camera comparison, Mr. Phone style, full classic camera comparison between the Oppo Reno, the OnePlus 7 Pro and the OnePlus 7. And here's what we had to say.
What you see on your screen right now is the final points tally. The Oppo Reno actually comes out on top, but the difference in points is not that much. The Oppo Reno takes really good shots in daylight, and the additional wide plus tele setup that you get actually gives you usable results and looks better than the OnePlus 7 Pro's additional cameras. Having said that, I would have liked slightly better dynamic range on the Oppo Reno, and the fact that it actually tends to boost the reds and the greens could have been avoided. I think that Oppo can actually issue an update to fix that problem. But in case you want to fix that issue yourself, you can do that in post. The nightscape or the night mode on the OnePlus 7 Pro and the OnePlus 7 are definitely better than the Oppo Reno, and that probably gives these phones a little bit of an edge. But the Oppo Reno's low light performance is not that bad. I like the fact that there is not too much noise compression happening and it retrieves a lot of details as well. I actually prefer that sort of processing, but when it comes to video recording, when it comes to 4K 60 FPS video recording or 1080p for that matter, the Oppo Reno actually takes the cake, and especially with that incredible sound recording feature and the variety of sound recording options that you get, the Reno is possibly one of the better Android phones out there for video recording using the rear camera. The OnePlus phones definitely offer better dynamic range, and the exposure control in selfies is definitely much better. And apart from that, the selfie portrait cutout is really good on the OnePlus phones. Now the OnePlus 7 Pro also has the better selfie video recording if you're into that sort of thing.
After you listen to that, in a nutshell, what that means is that OnePlus 7 and 7 Pro might be very capable cameras, but currently the Oppo Reno gives you a much better, much more mature camera performance. It takes a good picture every time you point this camera at something, and when it comes to video performance and zoom performance, you really can't beat this one. Now finally, coming to battery inside the Oppo Reno, you get a 4000 65 mAh battery. Oppo does this. We've seen this with Realme phones as well. They have really random battery sizes. They have like 4130, 4230, 4320, 4106, 4065 like on the Oppo Reno. I don't know why they do that, but they do this. So we have a 4065 mAh battery inside the phone, and that battery seems to be quite good for the Oppo Reno. Now the OnePlus 7 Pro also has a 4000 mAh battery, but for that 4000 you have a bigger display. You have a curved display, which means more area. You have a Quad HD display with 90 Hz refresh rate. So the OnePlus 7 Pro, of course, is a battery sucker. It'll suck the life out of that battery, out of that 4000 mAh. With the Oppo Reno 10X Zoom, you only have a standard 60 Hz refresh rate and a 1080p plus resolution. What that means is that the battery life performance of this is really good and almost as good as the OnePlus 7, which was one of the phones that gave me very long lasting battery life. Now, with my experience, this phone, even on a day with a lot of work, with heavy usage, I was still able to manage an entire day with usage. Of course, on casual days, it would go to even a day and a half. And when it comes to charging, you have the 20 watt VOOC 3.0. Now, OnePlus clearly has an advantage here, at least in the OnePlus 7 Pro, with a 30 watt warp charge. But in the OnePlus 7, you get 20 watt charging, and this one also gives you 20 watt charging. Although Oppo does use some special mechanism inside, where if you look at a phone's charging, even at fast charging, what it does is that it charges quickly up to 80-90%, and then there is trickle charging to make sure that your circuitry remains safe. That said, Oppo has done some work on the smartphone to make sure that even that trickle charging is faster than others. So the charging time on Oppo Reno is more than a traditional 20 watt charger would do. Now, coming to the price and if it is worth buying, first let's talk about the variants there. We have two major variants with the Oppo Reno 10X Zoom. One is the 6GB RAM 128GB version, and the other one is an 8GB RAM 256GB version. Now, for the higher end variant, it actually starts at 49,990, which is almost where the OnePlus 7 Pro starts as well. OnePlus 7 Pro starts at 48,990. Now, we'll be talking here about the Oppo Reno 10X Zoom 6GB RAM and 128GB storage version, which is priced at 39,990. It's right in between the OnePlus 7 and the OnePlus 7 Pro. Now, compared to those phones with design, it's a subjective thing. I myself prefer the Oppo Reno 10X Zoom's design over a OnePlus 7 Pro or the OnePlus 7. The Oppo Reno is a true engineering feat with that flush camera module and that design, and I think when it comes to design, although it's subjective, I'm pretty sure that more people would like the Oppo Reno compared to a OnePlus 7 Pro or a OnePlus 7. And with software, I don't think we have much to talk about here, because ColorOS, even though it's good, it's become much better with performance. OxygenOS is simply something that we cannot beat. So I think in the software department, OxygenOS for the win. Comparing the whole camera array, the standard lens, the wide angle lens and the telephoto, comparing it to the OnePlus 7 Pro, I think overall this is a slightly better package. Let me put it this way, if I have to recommend this phone to someone, then software would be the only area that I will talk to them about and ask them if they really like the software or they don't, or they cannot use it. Apart from that, everything on this phone is almost perfect, and I think OnePlus should be scared of the Oppo Reno. But with that, I leave you to it. Thank you so much for watching. This is Sreehari from Mr. Phone, and I'll catch you in the next one.